All right.
Yep, there you go.
Welcome, Gokul. How you doing?
Thanks for having me. Yeah, doing great.
So you're with Restoration Brokers of America. Why don't
Yeah,
you go ahead and give us the 30-second intro on yourself? If somebody hasn't stumbled across your name in the restoration ecosystem, who are you? What do you do? And why are you here?
yeah. I think it's real simple why I founded RBA. We're all small business owners, and I founded RBA for a very specific reason: is to get to know restoration industries, get to know how to value them, how to extract as much value as we can, prepare our restoration owners to go to market, and help them get to the next chapter. So RBA was actually founded very specific for the restoration industry because when I sold my business, the people that represented me, what I came out of that experience was you can't sell Mary's Muffin Shop and then talk TPAs the next day, right? You really got to understand a business to be able to talk about it intelligently and to service the clients. And I didn't have such a good experience, and that's what got me to found RBA. Now it's been, almost 20 years ago now.
Um, how
Yeah.
how many restorers have you helped thus far?
Uh, Roughly about 550 to 600 transactions over a 20-year period. I don't want to say I've seen it all because the minute I say that, I see something new that I haven't seen. But we
Mhm.
know enough to be dangerous.
Well, and it has been the past, I would say, what, 7 years. It's
Hmm.
been a great time to be selling a restoration company.
Correct.
So
Correct.
if folks are out there in the ecosystem and they're going, all right, I am in a position, I would like to discuss, you know, marketing my company for sale. Why should they choose you?
Well, like I said, I mean, RBA was founded specifically for restoration, correct? And
Hmm.
if you look at a lot of our owners in our industry, they're getting calls all the time from private equity groups. And I'm not bashing private equity, but I want to explain the process of what's going on, correct?
Hmm.
They're getting calls, they're what I call sweet talking, right?
Hmm.
Hey, got the greatest business ever and love to partner and love to get a second bite at the apple. And, you get a lot of these same kind of things that are going on in these emails. But I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, I've done 500 plus transactions in our industry. And I can tell you, if you're a seller, one is a very lonely number. And let me tell you what that means is if you're talking one to one between you and a buyer, okay, the chances are you're going to get below market. Okay. So whatever you worked for, 15 years, 30 years, 40 years building, you want to make sure that you're extracting everything. And that's where we come in. So what we can do is expose your business. One, prepare your business better so it's more buyer ready, right? So when they actually look at it, it it's almost like you're in their head, right? Oh wow, I
Hmm.
want all these things in a business. This is great. It's got everything I want, right? But
Hmm.
more importantly, it's about exposing your business to as many potential buyers and then creating competition between buyers to want your business, right? So on an average, we get almost 20 to 25% more when we run this process than
Hmm.
what a one-to-one private equity does, right? And then beyond that, it's also finding what you find is a lot of owners will start with the number, correct? I
Hmm.
want X,
Yep.
to retire. But let me tell you what happens as you go through the process. You quickly graduate or you kind of work your way through the number, then a whole bunch of other things become important to you.
Hmm.
Okay? The character of the buyer, what's going to happen to your key employees, what's going to happen to your legacy, what's if you got family members working in the business, what's going to happen to that afterwards, if you got
Hmm.
earnouts, if you're somehow participating in equity rollovers, earnouts, how secure is that going to be? What is the performance of the buyer? What are all the nooks and crannies on a 70-page purchase agreement? So quickly you graduate from the number is the most important to a whole bunch of other issues, right? And we're here to help navigate all of that.
So if I'm
That's
a
the
restoration if I'm a restoration business owner and I'm looking to create an exit of some sort, and I haven't thought about it, right? Like I work with a lot of restoration companies too, and there are some of them that are doing a dang fine job of grooming their organization for that potential handoff. And then there are some that are like, yeah, no, I just did this for 30 years and my back hurts. And,
Yeah.
I don't like the risk. And, they're considering making that change. Where do you see most restorers needing to tune up their businesses to get them ready to sell?
Yeah. So that's a look like I could talk an hour about this.
Give me top one or two,
Yeah.
right?
So let me tell you about this, right? So most exits, if you got them in your ecosystem, you're preparing them to build a great business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And but not everybody is in, pivot my business ecosystem or in
Mm-hmm.
the RBA ecosystem, right? I mean, probably people should be, but they're not yet, right? So
Yeah.
not everybody's in our ecosystem. So then people who are outside of it, what does that look like?
Mm-hmm.
80% of the companies that we talk to on a monthly basis, the owner's ready to sell, but the business is not. So it's
Yeah.
all event driven. You understand what I'm coming? You know what I
Oh
mean?
yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
the number one thing I would say to everybody that's running the business, whether they want to exit today or whether they want to exit 20 years from today, okay? Always run your business as if you're going to exit in about the next 2 to 3 years, because most exits are not planned. They're event driven. It's a health event. It's like you said, my back is hurting me, or your wife finally puts her foot down and says, we got grandkids and you worked for the last 20 years and we're not going to miss it again now. You
Yeah.
know, there's it's event driven, right? Hey, my kids left and I want to be closer to my grandkids now, right? Like I want to leave
Mhm.
Florida and go to Michigan, or I want to go to Wisconsin or wherever it might be. So a lot of these exits are event driven. What I would do, the number one thing I would do is always run your business as if you're going to sell it, whether you're going to do it now or whether you're going to do it 20, 30 years from now. That would be hands down my number one recommendation.
And so sharpen the pencil for me on that. Are you talking like with respect to financials, with respect to process? Like
Yeah.
what do you mean when you say that?
So we got a health check, right? I mean, I'm getting older. I'm doing it like every year. We go get a blood
Mm-hmm.
test. We go do all of that. I think the best tip I can start is every year when you're doing your business planning in Q4 for the next
Mm-hmm.
year, get an appraisal done in your business. There's a bunch of these people that do it, and it's pretty inexpensive. Okay, I mean, there's different levels of it, but get the cheapest level. That's okay. It's like $3,000, to
Yeah.
get it done. Get an appraisal done, because what that does is it takes your focus on enterprise value rather than day-to-day operations of the business. Okay, every day what happens is people get involved. I've got this problem, I've got this customer issue, I've got this insurance
Mhm.
company I got to fight, I got this invoice I got to fix, whatever, right? I got my production managers leaving me, I got to hire 5 other people. So there's all these things that come, but the really top people that have great exits spend some time every week, every month, whether it's an hour or one day a quarter, thinking about enterprise value, in the sense thinking not about day to day, but thinking about, hey, if I went to market today, what is my business worth? And if it was worth, let's pick a number, 10 million last year, is it worth less today or is it worth more today?
Mhm.
You see, I think it's the shift of day to day to, as an owner of the company, I want to build enterprise value in the company. So the second tip I would give is once a year, just get a simple appraisal done on your business. And if that number is not where you want it, right? Or that appraisal comes back and you think your business is worth 10 million and it's worth, let's pick a number, 5,
Mhm.
correct? That's okay. Okay, that gap is the secret sauce now. Okay, now you
Mhm.
say, okay, where do I go from 5 to 10? And
Yeah.
if you don't know the answers, as an owner, find people like you and your firm, and find
Mhm.
there's people out there that can help you get there. But you got to shift to enterprise value and get an appraisal at least once a year. And I think that would be it's simple to do, and it's easy. So those would be my top two, hands down.
So what drew you to partner with the RIA through the Affinity program?
You know, we've always been an education company, okay,
Mhm.
and I've been growing this business for a long time, and I just strongly feel that the healthier our industry is, the healthier it is for everybody. Correct? And
Mhm.
that's when we started getting involved in it. And we're continuing to grow our role. We're a small business just like everybody else. Time is limited. Sometimes we get stretched, but we're doing more this year than we did last year. We're hoping to do more with the RIA next year than we do this year. So we're
Mhm.
trying to contribute more and more and help everyone in our industry. And I just feel we're all in it together, in many, many ways, even though we're playing different parts, right? There's suppliers, there's consultants, there's operators, there's us who, let's
Mhm.
call us the finance bucket, the finance
Mhm.
guys. And I think it's important for all of us to contribute. I really do.
And so, what is your offer through the Affinity program? Like, if somebody's sitting there today and they're like, you know what, I have been thinking this, I'm going to call this guy and have a conversation with them. What's the offer available through the Affinity program?
So people can always call me if they want to talk about, hey, what do I need to do to exit the business? I always do these calls, 15-minute, 20-minute calls.
Mhm.
I don't charge anything for it. I enjoy talking to owners. It's something that I've always done. But let's talk about the appraisal that I just spoke about a minute ago, right?
Mhm.
They usually run you about $3,000-$4,000 or whatever, right? We have a partner that we can negotiate. I can give everyone a $2,000 appraisal, so it's almost $1,000 off. I encourage you all to take advantage of that offer. I'm pretty much doing it at cost, okay, for us. And once a year, doing that appraisal would really help in your enterprise value, in figuring out what is it your business is worth and what you need to do.
Okay.
So it's
And
almost
if
a 20% discount. Uh, we're doing it at cost. It's literally a pass-through cost for us to be totally transparent. And I encourage all of the RIA members that are listening to this, take advantage of it because it'll absolutely transform your strategy. It'll transform how you look at your business. It'll transform how you eventually exit. It'll transform how much money you put in your pocket.
awesome.
It doesn't have to
Um,
be complicated. You just need it's kind of like a blood test, like an annual. You just need to do it
yeah.
once a year, and that number just drives everything else.
You're like, oh, my lipids are good. Yay.
I
Or they're not.
don't get good answers for my blood test, but it's okay. It at least motivates me.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for our industry over the next 5 years?
I think there's a lot of what I call professionalization going on in our industry, right? You got companies like you that are really helping our owners
Mhm.
get better, smarter, operating better companies. You have uh, let's call it new blood and new skills and new people entering our industry. You got
Mhm.
private equity groups that are coming in from the plumbing industry or from the home
Mhm.
services or from roofing or other platforms that have exited and they're coming in and they're bringing some really out of the box thinking from other industries, best practices to come in, and I think eventually it'll transform us for the better. So I'm
Mhm.
really excited about where we're going to go. I think our industry is going to continue to grow as more people know about it. And I think as more money flows into our industry through acquisitions, investments, more people coming from outside our industry trying to build platforms and do these things, I think eventually it professionalizes what we do big time.
And
So
where
I'm
do you
excited from our industry is already growing, but I would suspect that 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, if you look at the total industry, whether we're 200 billion or 250
Mhm.
billion, I think 2, 3, 4, 5 years from now, we are bigger than where we are today. And I think that presents incredible opportunities for our operators.
Yeah, I would
You
agree.
know what I mean? And I think people need to look at it as opportunity. And I've never seen. I've been in our industry for almost 20 years, and and I think the opportunities now are brighter than they've ever been.
And what would you say is the greatest challenge you see for restorers in the
Yeah,
next 5 years?
yeah. I think we're still a fragmented industry. I think as our industry gets more professionalized, I think restorers have to keep up with that, right? With technology, with HR mindsets and how they're treating employees, maybe some flexibility in how we do things. I think some of the core markets are moving, and I think the restorers have to kind of move with it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that
So
would help quite a lot.
give me an example. What sticks out in your head?
Like technology is absolutely like number one, right? So as a lot of these private equity groups are coming in, they're bringing in big technologies and integrations, and how they look at companies, KPIs, and
Mm-hmm.
and where the profits are, right? It's analytics, correct? How they're looking at it. They're not looking at it one job at a time, and they're not looking at it wearing a tool belt, so to speak, operating on the field. They're looking at it as a pure business, correct? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that is really good for us. That is where the opportunities are, but I also think that's also where the threats are, right? So if you're not keeping up and professionalizing your business and reinvesting in your business to keep up, I think you're gonna fall a little bit behind with a lot of this.
Got it.
And we're already seeing it, right? Like sometimes I'll talk to owners that, you know, kind of run day to day, hey, I've
Mm-hmm.
met payroll, I've kind of made my money that I want to make, and I'm taking the money out, and then, okay, I've got 10 jobs, my next 3 weeks are good. They're
Mm-hmm.
kind of running with that kind of mentality. I think they're going to have more challenges going down the road as the industry starts to get more and more professional,
Okay.
right?
Um,
Retention is one. Like, I'll give you a second one, right?
yeah.
10 years ago, nobody talked about talent retention in our industry, right? The mindset for the most part was, hey, it's a job. We're going to put an ad out, do your job. You're going to get paid well. Let's move to the next job, right? It was very old school, right? Now, what's happening with a lot of these new people are coming into our industry, they're pushing this idea of how do we get talent? How flexible can we be? Can we do a couple of days remote work if the position can demand it? Can we hire CFOs from outside? Can we hire consultants? You don't have to hire within, but bringing that talent and building that team, that's absolutely transforming in our industry. Absolutely
Mhm.
transforming, big time.
Yeah. I've seen more restorers outsource, I'll call it the white collar side of the business.
Yes.
It'd be that estimating, sales support, finance, even, estimate negotiations was one that seems to be a hot topic this year,
Yes.
and finding good success with it. And so the challenge is, okay, what is our secret sauce that we need to preserve in-house talent for, but what isn't so secret that we couldn't leverage an outside resource? Yeah.
Right. And things like, vision and mission and values. And, 10 years ago, everyone just kind of thought it as soft science,
Hmm.
all foo-foo stuff for people in suits and, sitting in offices. And now you can definitely start to see companies that have these things and have the culture, and the owners have actually given it some importance, and they're building something that everyone is proud to come into work with. They're actually doing better. So I mean, their financials and their numbers actually are better. So
Hmm.
I think this is one area where we're absolutely transforming.
Yeah, I would agree. And it's interesting. Call me like young Gen X, elder millennial. Like, I think a ping pong table's cool, but sometimes I get frustrated with people when they just don't want to go work, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, dude, it's a job. You get a paycheck. Go, I don't get it. And just to see how, you can take a service-based business where, like, we're on call, we're 24/7. You have to show up. Like, there's nothing that hurts your business more than when you don't show up when you said you were going to show up. And so, watching owners create culture that threads the needle around that, and
Yes.
how I see a lot of them articulating the why behind what they do first, as opposed to leading with the training of technical skills, particularly in the millennial and younger generations, because that's how they get motivated,
Yeah.
right? They're not, like, I'm painting with a broad brush, but they're not always motivated by a paycheck.
Correct.
Sometimes what's more important to them is knowing what they're doing is actually making the world a better place.
Correct. And that's all the more important to create a company of culture, and pay attention to what we may call soft sciences. 5 years ago,
Mhm.
the vision, why, and how do I acquire talent? How do I keep talent? How do I get them to get up every in the morning? And I think
Mhm.
these things are going to get really, really, really important for us going forward. It
Agreed.
already is. I'm seeing it in companies. When I talk to owners, I see the attitudes of owners.
Mhm.
I wish I never had employees. I wish I could run it without employees. You've heard all these sayings, right?
Oh yeah.
Those are all mindsets, correct? And I think owners that are coming in with those kinds of mindsets, I think, are going to fall behind big time.
I would completely agree. If somebody wants to learn more or have a conversation with you, how do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, just run into my website. I mean, that's kind of where everyone gets there, right? www.rbasells.com. My books are there for you to download. Happy to mail you some books. You want to talk to me, my staff can put you in touch with me. No problem. Easily accessible.
Well, on behalf of the RIA, thanks so much for bringing some value to our members. I know that there's a lot of restoration company owners out there that are going, okay, how much is this bag of cats I built actually worth? And I think that it's really cool that you anchor your value proposition on that within the Affinity program because
Yeah.
you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah,
And
and
this
one
is
more thing, I tell you, I mean, a lot of our owners, I'm a small business owner too. I mean, I don't, I mean, I've been a small business owner for 25 years, correct?
Mhm.
And I feel like, business, and there's some of our owners who've been in it, and man, I love that part of my job where I can take someone that's been in the business for 20, 30 years and actually extract every dollar of their career, and send them off to a great retirement. Correct? I mean, it's amazing to set them up for a great retirement and get the business healthy and make sure we can transact it for them. And what I'd encourage people when they're listening is also, even if you're not selling today or you think it's somewhere out there the next 5 years you may want to exit, there's tons of education resources on our website. Go download them and start reading them. Absolutely free.
Awesome. Well, thanks again for your partnership with the Affinity program. And if anybody else wants to learn more, you can go visit the Restoration Brokers of America website. And then there also is a page in our Affinity resources where if you log into the RIA website, you can get connected with Restoration Brokers of America through there as well. Thanks again for your time.
All right. Thanks, Anthony. Take care.